it's about time for Jordan and I to do another wish list to Hasbro. Hasbro overlords, here are pleas. Let's talk about it. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Strong Collectors Podcast. I am your host, Dakota, here with my co-host, Jordan, and we need to do a wish list for Hasbro. Now, each of us have come up with 10 figures that we want Hasbro to make, and I would say it's safe to say that if they made these figures, we would pay full price. We're not going to wait for clearance. We're not going to play games. If you meet our demands, we'll give you our money. It's the deal we're making right here, Hasbro. If you want to make... I don't know how much these would all cost. $25 each. Some of these might be Build-A-Figures, though, so...
If you want to make almost $300 each... be a couple of... a company run by monkeys if you don't make these.
All right.
But I will say, some of the time, we're right part of the time on these lists, and they happen, so...
And sometimes we make videos talking about how right we were when we do get right. So, all right. Okay, I think my list is, I will say that some of them, like typical, some are pretty likely, and some are maybe, I'm probably one
unlikely.
of three. I'm probably one of three people that want my number one, but he's on there because I want him.
Do you have it in order of, like, desire?
Kind of. I mean, I kind of want all of them, but I mean, as I get down into like my top three, I want these a little bit more. So I'll start out with my number 10, and I do have a runner-up here when we get into the top section. But my number 10, I don't even know. It seems like they're trying to distance themselves, which I understand, but I want a Punisher. And now you're saying, but Dakota, the Punisher is problematic and blah, 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 blah. I don't want that Punisher. I want the Punisher of like the more current stuff where he's like the leader of the Hand and kind of more ninja. Because then that would go with my mindless one, Daredevil and Elektra, and then kind of ties that together. So give me a samurai looking Punisher with the Oni symbol. Give him maybe an alternate head where he's got glowing red eyes with the like effects coming off of it. Doesn't even need guns. Give him swords. He doesn't really use... I mean, he does use guns, but it's like, I have those already, so I'd rather you pack him in with more ninja stuff. And I'd be happy with that. My number 10 is Punisher.
I can actually see that happening. Not gonna lie. That one seems kind of likely to me. Are we doing back one each here? Or?
Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So... Dakota had just reminded me of my list from last year, which I did not consult, so there's a little bit of overlap. But you know what I know. I still want a Bucky figure. I've wanted this one for some time, and it's just that old Hasbro one. Early Hasbro.
Brood
but
wave.
just does not cut it. I've had it. I tried to make it work. I was like, nope, this is not happening. So I think that one would be a pretty... Well, I guess he's a little smaller, so I'm not sure what mold they'd use pre-existing. But I think it'd be really cool to get a better articulated Bucky. Doesn't even have to come with a bunch of stuff, you know? I mean, I don't know. Maybe give him two sets of hands, and I think I'd be happy. So I think that would be really cool. I think people will go for that. I do think we will get one. I don't know if it'll be next year, but that'd be cool.
Yeah. That's a good number 10. I think you are not alone there. I would also like a Bucky. I might play the game and wait for a clearance on him. But if it came in a 2-pack with a World War II cap, I'm in. My number 9 is another figure we literally just got, I think one this year, one last year. I have been saying a cel-shaded Daredevil is coming in the 2-packs with Spider-Man. I want that one, but that's not the wish list. Because that one, I'm saying it's happening. The one that I wish for is a little bit more modern Daredevil. I want him a little bit more rough looking. I want him with the boots, kind of the wrist wrap, almost boxing type hands, kind of from the storyline right before he becomes King Daredevil from the Mindless Wave one. And I think that's the look he's going back to, which I haven't started reading it, but there's a new Daredevil story, so apparently he's alive again, because the other one ended with him dying. So as they do, Daredevil's back, and it looks like he's in this costume. So I would like a more modern Daredevil. I'm not going back and paying the money for that 3-pack one. I would take that kind of like spandexy Daredevil as well, but give me a little bit more gritty Daredevil.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think Daredevil is the kind of figure that has had. He's popular enough, but he also has had like subtle enough variations that I could see them continuing with that kind of look. So, fair pick. I'm gonna go a little cosmic, and I still want a classic Adam Warlock.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about. I want him with his cape. I want the one that have little skull pendants on it. I want the whole shebang, Infinity Gauntlet style. I think would look awesome. And I think, I don't know, with what we were seeing with some of those classic retro Guardians, Star-Lord, Drax. We got Moondragon.
Yeah, Moondragon.
Yeah. So it's in that vein. And again, it's another one. Early days of Hasbro. Doesn't hold up. I think he's due for an update. And I think he'd go great with my Cosmic / Sorcerer display. So,
yeah,
I want my classic Adam Warlock.
Okay, I would like to see some more more cosmic, classic-ish figures. Like I would like some more heralds for my Galactus. Not sure if those are coming in. They're not in my wish list, but I would be happily accepting them if they decided to make them. One that I've kind of been talking about more recently that's going to be my number 8 is a figure we've had before, but I want the grown-up version of Magik. So I've been reading a lot more with her in it. And we've got the kid version, which that's another, like, I'm really just spoiling all my top 5 female figures here, but I would probably put her in the top 5 females of all time. Let's get an updated adult version. I could see them probably doing more so the like New Mutants look, but I want her in the like more modern, like X-Men, or I don't know, modern. I'm reading like 2014 comics right now, but that's the kind of look I want.
I'm only 9 years old.
I want the post Phoenix 5 look. Give her the giant sword, give her a lightsaber looking thing. I think she's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm interested in Magik since you have spoken so highly of that figure, so maybe I'd be intrigued by that one too. I still want to check out that figure now that you've told me about it. I am going to continue with my cosmic realm, and I want an updated Captain Marvel, the Marvel version.
Okay.
Really not a fan of the... Is it the Abomination one?
Yeah.
Gamerverse?
Yeah.
Yes. That one just doesn't do it for me. I had them. Don't like them. But I love Captain Marvel. And I just think that one would be real easy, to be quite honest. I don't think that's a hard figure at all to do. What are you doing? And again, this one probably will go on clearance, but I like it, Captain Marvel, enough that I would probably go for it.
I mean, you have to go for it now. We've stuck our claim, and we're paying full price for these, buddy. So
I've staked my claim in there. So I would go for a new Captain Marvel. Yeah, it just makes me a little upset to think about the old one, how bad it is. So
I've had that one, and like I was confused in selling it because I was like, I swear this is new, but this feels Toy Biz. So it's that bad. So I don't know what it is about it. It's just weird. So yeah, that we could use a better Captain Marvel. Put it on the Vulcan.
You just can't get him into like any poses at all. He just has to stand there.
And I feel like the Vulcan body would be the right one for him, right?
I think so. Easy.
Yeah.
Just repaint it. Boom.
Boom.
You're there.
What
are you doing?
I'm going to go a little out of order, just to stick with the continuity here. Jordan wants a Captain Marvel. I want a Ms. Marvel. And I would take one of two versions. You can give me a Mighty Captain Marvel from the Mighty Avengers, kind of that Warbird black and gold, or you can give me a Dark Avengers, kind of the more red and blue. Either of those costumes are acceptable. I will also take both. But it still counts as one pick. Don't be taking away my picks. But yeah, I think obviously the Warbird one is due for an update. We've had two of them. You've had the Hasbro one, right?
The
one from the 3-pack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thoughts? Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was also selling for high at the time. I don't know if it still is, but I was like, I got to sell it. But even if I didn't want to sell it, I would have sold it.
Understandable.
Didn't love it. Definitely could use an update. I agree with you there.
Yeah. So now that we've got newer bodies, newer articulation for the females, let's get a new version of that. So give me my Ms. Marvel, either one or both. Full price for both, baby.
Okay, continuing with a new female figure, I want an updated She-Hulk. I know we've talked about this before in some of our speculation, thinking this will be coming. I'm not really even sure which version I want, to be quite honest, because I know we've talked about like the classic first appearance look. Usually I go for those, but I don't know how well it would translate to a legend. I just want some. I do like the one. Is that Super Scroll? The one that has like the torn up outfit and stuff?
The Super Scroll one is the gray one, and then the GameStop exclusive is the green one.
Okay. So I think that one worked fine, like sculpt wise, scale wise, but I don't know. That's not my ideal look. It's like the ripped up street clothes look. I kind of like the more uniform style. So maybe even just that standard, like purple and white suit type thing going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think an updated She-Hulk is reasonable, especially if we think some retro Hulks might be coming. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's definitely not a matter of if, it's a matter of when they do another She-Hulk. And then what costume is she going to be? I could see them honestly just making us sick of She-Hulk with as much as people have been asking for. They're going to put out the one, and then they're going to put out 4 more following, which I think is better than what we've got now, because it's been quite a while since we've had a She-Hulk. And I think most people prefer either the A-Force one or even the very early Hasbro. I think that was Blob Wave. And that one, it's not great, but it is the costume people want, so I think that's why people like it. My number 6, I believe we're on, is going to be one that we talked about in the 5-pack hopes and predictions, and that is an Acolyte Colossus. So I don't know why he's an Acolyte, but he's got a cool costume. He's got a cape. I like Colossus. I'll take that version of him. I honestly would prefer it being in a single pack over the 5-pack that we talked about in that episode, just because I really don't care too much about any of those other characters that would come with him in that 5-pack. But I think that would be a unique way to display him on your shelf.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about that version. I could see a new Colossus coming.
Yeah.
You might be reaching on that one, but
I've seen some people wanting a powered down Colossus, which I get, but at the same time, why? Would you ever I mean, I suppose like maybe if you're just kind of doing like a general like X-Men, like all posing for the like yearbook picture, but I want my Colossus metal powered up. So
it's like displaying your Spider-Man without his mask on,
Right.
Just ain't right. I'm gonna go with another one we've talked about and speculated, but a Danny Ketch Ghost Rider.
Yes.
Hopefully with Bike. I'd like it to come with Bike. A lot of reasons. I mean, I think, to be honest, I loved as a kid the Toy Biz Ghost Rider. I thought that was so cool. Yeah. I really wasn't even aware of like a conception of Ghost Rider outside of that look, so that was kind of like as I grew up how I always pictured Ghost Rider. It wasn't until later in life that I figured that was like when Danny Ketch took over, they kind of remodeled him, so to speak. But I think that one could be really cool with some updated. I hope it's not like the the retro card one. I hope they use a bit of a different sculpt, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think that one would look really cool, and I would love to see what they come up with as far as a bike. Like for that, again, I would love if it has that like big old, faceplate shield thing, and just that would be so cool. And if you give me like a couple chain, if they gave me one that was a real chain, I'd love it. But then the one that's at least like sculpted, you can hold it, it's going crazy, that kind of thing. Maybe give them a couple chains would be cool.
I would want a bendy wire chain, but I don't know how you would do that. It'd have to be so thin of wire, and like it'd have to be like real chain with real like thin wire. I don't know. That'd be the ideal though.
That'd be one application of bendy wire I could get behind.
Yeah, so, like the bendy wire of like the tails, like NECA's actually a little bit better than Marvel Legends, but barely. I would hate to get like a super thick chain that's like that. That's probably why they don't do it, is that's their version of stuff. But like, I wonder how. I've never seen too much reviews on the Mezco Ghost Rider, but I would imagine that's got to come with a like wired chain.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know.
You have to get him. You're a Mezco man, Jordan. Get that Ghost Rider.
That one is a little much for me, though, dude.
I agree.
I don't know if that $250 price tag is justifiable for me.
Yeah,
I'm a little crazy for some Mezcos that I like, but that one.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's way too pricey. Getting into, I think we're in the top 5 now. I'm gonna go with one that has never been made as a Marvel Legend. I'm a little surprised by it. Maybe I'm not. It's Azazel. Maybe it's a little too devil looking, but give me. I guess it's not even Nightcrawler's dad anymore, but give me the Nightcrawler looking red guy. I was pretty surprised that they used him in the X-Men First Class movie. I wish he would have done a little bit more. But I'm reading right now, I think it's Amazing X-Men, where they're like fighting in hell and heaven, and Azazel's trying to like take over. Very Spawn-like, I guess, but fighting in like pirate ships. He's pretty cool. I don't know if I want the pirate version. Not sure which version of Azazel I would like, but I'm flexible there, Hasbro. You can have a little bit of creative leeway there, but just give me an Azazel, maybe even like a Banff type accessory. I don't know how you're gonna do it. Might come as kind of the Blink accessory. She's got like the portal on the ground. Just make it a little cloudy. Just throwing out ideas, Hasbro. Repaint it. Give it to the next Nightcrawler you make. These ideas are free. I'm paying you. You make it happen, I buy it.
True. Okay, this next one, I guess in light of recent events, it might be a little unlikely, maybe. You know what I know, Dakota. I want some Kang variants. Now, I know what you're saying. Jordan, what are you talking about? But maybe we could get away with it, because I have been reading, one of our commenters a while back had talked about reading Avengers Forever as a cool Kang storyline, which I have been reading, and featured pretty prominently in that so far as Immortus, which I think Immortus would be a cool. I kind of was doing a deep dive in some of the early days of Kang, he's just such a wacky character, man. So I think Immortus would be cool. I would also, I think, accept the Rama Tut version where he's like a pharaoh. I mean, there's so many different like slight versions of Kang. Those are kind of the two that stand out to me that I think people think of as like not just a slightly different looking version of Kang. Because Immortus actually wasn't initially Kang. He was like his own guy. Then they retconned him to be the variant of Kang. So I think it'd be kind of cool to see him. I mean, maybe there was plans for that before, I'm hopeful. And with the whole Kang shakeup in the MCU, maybe they'll still go through with it. I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah.
But I would go for that. I always love those kind of more wacky looking bad guys. So
yeah,
I could go for it. Mainly an Immortus, but I'd take a Ramatet.
Okay. Interesting pick. Topical pick. I don't know if it's happening, buddy.
Not happening, brother, but
all right. Now my number 4. This is one that I had on last year's wish list. This is going to be an easy one for you, Hasbro. I want an Iron Patriot. Repaint me an Iron Man, red, white, and blue. Maybe throw in a Norman Osborn head. Help me finish that Dark Avengers. I know there's the old one. I've never bought that one because it looks terrible. Like, it doesn't even look like it's in scale with Marvel Legends. I'm going to need me an updated one. Super easy to do. I just need it done. On my way to completing my Dark Avengers. How am I going to have a Dark Avengers without the leader? And we're off to the races. You can give me it in the 5-pack, because we did talk about this in a 5-pack. Mm-hmm. But single pack would be acceptable as well.
I could see that one happening.
Yeah. I feel like that's
Especially
pretty
now you got
likely.
the Extremis. It's just, like you said, it's a repaint.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's how they did it before, too.
But it's a repaint that I think a lot of people would be forgiving of and happy about.
I mean, I could see them repainting that armor a few times, because the one we have is kind of a muted red and gold. I could see them brightening up the colors to be bright red, bright yellow, because he had that kind of paint scheme in the comics, too, for a while. And then, red, white, and blue it up, and there you go. I don't know if War Machine ever had that Extremis look either, but there's a whole nother repaint you could do probably fairly easily, too.
I'm going to have to bring Spider-Man into this, Dakota.
I was wondering.
Yet. You know what I know. I'm waiting for my Man Spider. I've been waiting for it since 2002. No, just kidding. Not really. Well, kind of. I guess. I love that classic Toy Biz one. It's a lot of fun. I could see him being updated, though. I don't know in what capacity. I know we've talked about this. It's a little big to be in the animated line, or at least in the way I would want it to be. Mm-hmm. It's never going to happen. But
do you think Select would ever do that?
Maybe.
Because it's kind of one of those non-posable type of figures.
Right.
I mean, it would be cool if he was posable, but I could see Select doing a decent job of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. And yeah, that could work, just because, again, I don't need to make him into too crazy of poses. Mm-hmm. But I think it would be cool to get an updated version, man. He does appear in the animated series, so maybe there's a hope for me. I'm not sure. Yeah. But a Man Spider would be great.
Yeah.
For me.
I agree with that. I would also be very interested in a Man Spider. If Hasbro could do it, give him some articulation, excellent. Mm-hmm. If Diamond Select does them, I would still probably pick him up, because those are only like usually $30, and I don't think I've ever bought a brand new Diamond Select, but they do have some good figures. Getting into my number 3, top 3. I want a new Ironheart. You know how much I love the other, but I would like this more pink version. Give me both. This is... I would have to lay out all of my favorite storylines, but this would be in the running for top 10 for sure, I think.
Top 10 storylines?
I think so.
The debut of Ironheart?
Well, this isn't the debut of Ironheart. She debuts in Iron Man, but this is like Ironheart #1, so like her own solo series.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
I liked it. It was good.
Really?
It was good.
I didn't know you liked it that much.
I told you should read it.
Oh, all right.
Never listen to my advice, Jordan. I say, read Ironheart. You don't read Ironheart. Buy more Mythic Legions. You don't buy more Mythic Legions. Stop buying McFarlane. You keep buying McFarlane.
You've actually bought more McFarlane this year than ever.
So I would like that one.
Right.
It's her look in her debut series in the Champions. Okay. She has the same costume. And yeah, I like Ironheart as a character. I like the old figure. She's in my top 10. And I think they could do a little bit better articulation, give me a little bit more ab crunch. And then, yeah, it's another Iron Man type figure. Just make it, Hasbro.
All right. I'll check out that storyline now.
Do it. I'll crack this thing open. You can read #1.
Well, I'll find another way. Don't worry. My number 3 is going to be World War Hulk, or World Breaker Hulk.
Okay, yeah.
Now, when I was younger, this was really the storyline that got me real into the Hulk, was the Planet Hulk into World War Hulk storyline. I think it's a great story, and a version of Hulk we have not seen in Legends form. I mean, we got like the Gladiator one, but that was, of course, MCU related.
Mm-hmm.
I think the World War Hulk version, World Breaker, is different enough. He doesn't really, again, need a ton of stuff. He just kind of give me the figure.
Mm-hmm. Was he not in the Fin Fang Foom wave? I think he might have been.
He might have been.
I think he
was.
But
again, it's another one of those ones that...
Yeah, I had that one, and it was not good. Like, it wasn't very posable at all.
Yeah, just doesn't cut it. So, I think this would be a really cool one to update. I'd love it if he gave him his giant sword.
Yeah.
From the books would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just think this was a really cool storyline. I wouldn't mind if at that point we spin off into a couple other figures from that storyline. I'm not going to use them for my spots, but
right.
I'd love to see just kind of rounding out some of those other figures. But the World Breaker Hulk, I think, would be pretty sweet.
Would you make him blocky like he's drawn in that story?
I mean, I don't know if he'd necessarily have to be in that art style of my guy, John Romita Jr., but...
I just imagine he's got to be kind of like the I Think You Should Leave skit, where it's like he just sees the world in wildly different ways, and like you touch his hand and he just sees everyone's head as squares. You think that's how he lives his life? He just looks around the world and he's like, wow, heads are shaped like cubes. I don't know. I don't like his art.
People's mouths are 3 feet long. So, maybe. Well, he doesn't have to look like that, but I think he'd be cool.
Okay. I would like that figure too. I would be happily paying for a World Breaker Hulk. Because we did have the Planet Hulk, like when he's kind of the gladiator from like very early Hasbro. I loved that figure as a kid. That was super cool. I still have it. He's got the small head. I know you hate those, but he's got the removable helmet, so comes with a trade-off. All right. Top 2, baby. This is one we've talked about a few times also. We talked about it in our Retro Fantastic Four wave, possibly coming as a deluxe card. I would like to see a Dragon Man. Dakota, have you ever read anything with Dragon Man in it? No, I haven't. His name is Dragon Man, and I want him. I don't know why you need to know anything about the character. He's got wings. He's a dragon. I don't really want the like nerdy Dragon Man one. I want the like fire-breathing villain Dragon Man. So I would hope we get it. I'm sure Hasbro knows that people want it because the old one goes for crazy like $400, $500, $600 or something like that. So let's get a new one. I would like to see some sort of articulated wings, kind of like the Angel. But they could also just be sculpted like regular wings, kind of like the old Annihilus was. I would accept it. I would like good articulation in the wings, but it's not mandatory, Hasbro. Give me some fire-breathing effects. That would be nice. Please give me my Dragon Man.
I think that one's coming at some point.
I hope. I don't know why they're dragging their feet. I just see them lock that. Oh, I see them lock that behind a HasLab or something. I'd be so mad. Get your Fin Fang Foom, and tier 3 is Dragon Man. I don't think that one really makes as much sense, but
what does make sense is my number 2, and it's another one I've really been wanting. But it's the Battle Damage Spider-Man.
I was gonna guess that.
I know we get a lot of Spider-Mans every year, but if we're gonna have to get Spider-Man, why not get a Battle Damaged one?
Yeah.
And my vision was like super ultra deluxe. You got a whole bunch of different heads and all that stuff. I've scaled it down from last year. It's okay. We don't need all that stuff. But just give me the Battle Damage Spider-Man. If he's got 2 heads, that'd be cool. I'd love that. And I guess we kind of saw that back in when they did the Spider-Man Craven 2-pack. You could get one where he's kind of got like a black eye, and then one where he's got more of the like torn mask thing. And yeah, just give him a couple hands. There we go. Bada boom, bada bing. I know that's somewhat of a difficult thing as far as, you'd have to do extra sculpting because you couldn't just make it just a regular Spider-Man because you'd have to have torn clothes and stuff.
You don't want it to be like that McFarlane Superman versus Doomsday, where it's just like painted on, ripped clothes. You want you want to feel the gashes in his.
That's right. But I've seen. I feel like even in our videos, if we talk about this, I've seen at least a couple comments of people saying that'd be really cool. And
yeah. I mean, Spider-Man's constantly getting beat up with his mask, like Hap Rift, and yeah. I think that I don't know. Like it seems like I could see Hasbro not doing it, but also it happens so often that it would fit in with people's displays really well. That
how cool would it be, dude, if you had like him fighting Sinister Six? Just
yeah, I think they should do it. I mean, maybe in another multi-pack or something to like then you get some like reused characters that like kind of bring the cost down, and then you put the cost into that Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that could be very cool, and I think people would like that. All right. Before we get into number one, let's do our runner-up. I don't know if you have a runner-up, Jordan. I think
you go first.
I think I know who your runner-up is, or maybe it's going to be your number one if it's similar to last year. But my runner-up is also similar to last year, and that is I still want a Blackheart. Whether this is a Build-A-Figure or a deluxe, it's got to be one of the two. It can't be just a standard figure, I don't think. Toy Biz did it as a standard, but they were able to do much bigger characters as standards. I think I would prefer, so we've got the skinnier, taller version. I'd like a little bit beefed up, more muscular, not quite the Hulk level of, like he's never drawn that big. But I would like a little bit bigger, thicker Blackheart. Give him the long, crazy hair tentacle things. Give him you probably have to go bendy wire tail. Make him big. Put him maybe on a retro ghost card. Make it a deluxe retro card. That would be a cool figure. And I think people want him. He's not a super popular character, I don't think. But
yeah, I don't know. I mean, this depends.
Yeah, I mean, he fights Ghost Rider, fights the X-Men. I'm sure he probably runs in with Spider-Man, because who doesn't Spider-Man run into?
Guy's just running afoul of everybody. A runner-up I was thinking about, I guess I don't know where this ranks, maybe this is lower, but one that I thought about but didn't make it to the list is going to be a civilian. We joked about this before, but I would actually go for an Uncle Ben figure.
Okay,
to be quite honest with you. I think that is one civilian I'd be happy with. I'd want to get. It's got to go with the Spidey display, of course. I don't know how he would come. He'd be like in a 2-pack or something. Maybe put him with something that people really, but I don't know. I want to hear in the comments. Would people want an Uncle Ben figure? Yeah. If so, maybe he would come not with like a crazy other figure.
Right.
Maybe we could get away with getting him as is.
Maybe you get him with the Spider-Man, like pre-Spider-Man, like the night of like his wrestling, like get him in that costume.
Oh yeah, we haven't really seen that in comic version, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that could be kind of cool. So I think people do want an Uncle Ben. I am not one of those people, but I think there is enough that I could really see that figure getting made, especially since we've been getting Aunt May. I think if Aunt May would have sold like hotcakes with Doc Ock, I think that would have maybe
wheat cakes, perhaps.
Maybe. But I think that maybe would have pushed Uncle Ben a little bit more towards the front of the line to get made. I don't know that 2-pack is selling that well, so I don't know. All right, number one, and just so happens I didn't plan this, but I've got the box right here. I pulled this box before. Oh, this isn't even the right box. This is all Castle, guys. I gotta go get that box now if I play it up like that. All right, I'm back. And I didn't even plan this, but this box just happened to be up in the closet, buried under some other boxes, right next to me in the other room. I've pulled this box before, and the figure I want to get an update of is Moltar. So we're getting Chris Star, And I got to have somebody for Chris Star to fight. And it's got to be Moltar. So
Moltar.
I could have the little Moltar gremlins fighting him. I don't think this one is actually Moltar. I think this is one of his like henchmen. Don't know whatever happened to my actual Moltar, but Chris Star should be coming soon. Hopefully before the end of the year, but I don't think it's coming quite that soon for us here in the U.S. I know people across the way have had it. I'm pretty excited for him. Probably now that we got Sabretooth, pretty excited for him too. But this Chris Star is going to be pretty cool. I want some more figures from there.
Yeah, and I'd be curious to see like how well he's selling, I guess. But yeah, maybe if there's an interest there.
Yeah, and if not, I might have to look into how to dye my figures because I'd like to dye maybe at least one Chris Star green. So maybe I'll have to wait and see how they sell, because if they don't and they go on super clearance, I'll pick up a few extras. Maybe try my hand at custom dyeing my figures. But
I like
it. Give me that Moltar.
Moltar. Okay. Well, I thought my number one was crazy and never getting made, but I'm rethinking it. Just kidding. You know what I know, Dakota? It's always going to be number one for me, and that is none other than Frankencastle himself. I'll be saying it every year until it happens. And then when it happens, I'll probably be like, they didn't quite. But either way, I want a Frankencastle. Again, this is another story. Oh, you know what? I should have had a classic Superior Spider-Man on here, too. Yeah. Throw that on there as well. I don't know why I didn't think of him. He's on the list for sure. But also, Frankencastle, another storyline that really made me be like, oh, Punisher, I actually really like this. Did a little more than the standard Punisher run around killing criminals fair. Very short-lived. So I'm not really even sure what the fan base, pun intended, because he's Frankenstein zombie. I just think it's so cool. He's like Frankenstein meets Punisher. He's got gears, steampunk stuff. He's a zombie. Again, don't know what this one would be. My dream, Dakota, is him as a Build-A-Figure, and I get a whole bunch of monsters in the wave. That's probably not going to happen. But even if they gave this to me as a one-off, ideally maybe even as a 2-pack, give me another monster with them. I'd love that. Have you read this comic yet, or no?
This is our third time doing a wish list for Marvel Legends, and I still have not read that storyline yet.
Well, highly recommend it. It's not very long either. So
understandable.
Maybe next year, after you read it, you will be joining me in crying out for Frankencastle.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay, so you forgot to put Superior Spider-Man.
Yeah, he probably would have knocked somebody off the list, but...
Yeah. I forgot to put, I want a new updated Young Avengers box set. I think that would be cool.
That's what? Like 4 figures.
Well, that's why it's not on the list. I didn't put it there. I'm just saying, oh yeah, this would be cool too. It's not in my top 10, okay.
That's fair.
But I think those could all use an update. And it was a cool set.
Well,
and then maybe if you get the updated Patriot, you reuse it, and then there's your new head swap, put Bucky. So.
Good call.
Like boom. Double whammy.
Bada bing.
Everybody gets what they want. So,
all right.
I think that was a pretty good list. What are some of your figures that you're putting on your wish list to Hasbro? As soon as they announce it, you're going to buy it at full price. Let us know down in the comments. If you want to see some of the predictions that we've been making for what we think is going to be coming out next year, we've got our retro Iron Man predictions. You can check that out. If you're not into Iron Man, you can check out some retro Fantastic Four. I mentioned we had talked about Dragon Man in there. Check them out. Make sure you're liking, sharing, subscribing. And until next time, stay strong.